YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and I'm not sure how this hat is picking up on the green screen. It's blue and yellow. No, there's no green on it. But what do we got today? We got score predictions for Week 18, picks against the spread. Weird week because we don't know who's starting or which teams are playing their starters, how long they're going to play them, but yeah, pretty confident with my picks here. Excited to break it down, and we'll have our playoff score predictions. Same thing every single week in the playoffs. Excited about that. Excited about our playoff content in general. Join us. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Some off-season videos starting to roll out. More and more of them. A recent mock draft that includes a trade. Check it out. Follow us on Twitter for live news, rumors, and updates. Link pinned in the comments for that, as well as GLD Shop, Liquid IV, code GOAT. Check it all out. Score predictions. Chiefs, Raiders, Saturday football. Raiders played pretty well against a good Niners team last week. I think they'll keep it. The 9.5's a little tough, but because I can see the Chiefs winning by 10, just covering that. But the Raiders maybe keep it interesting here. But the Chiefs will probably. The Raiders might outplay the Chiefs in the first half because it's what they do. It's what the Raiders do. But I'm confident with the Chiefs winning this game though and taking control of the second half and winning by 7 points here. So 27-20 Chiefs is what I got. In that first game. The Saturday night game, Titans-Jags. I'm going to go Jags 20-16. So the Jags winning by 4. They're favored by 6. First glance, it's like, all right, Titans are really struggling. They have Josh Dobbs at quarterback. The Jags are hot. They're home. They just beat the Titans up the last time they played them. Jags are going to win this, and they're probably going to win easy. First glance, it probably looks like that. I understand why, and they might be able to win it easy. But Titans getting some defensive guys back, and they play teams tough on defense, and they'll play the Jags way tougher than last time. Also, last time, Derrick Henry was running wild on them like he always does. I think he's going to do that against the Jags again. They turned the ball over 4 times last time. I don't think the Titans turned the ball over that many times, so it can keep it close here. But I mainly like it a low-scoring defensive game because playoffs are on the line, obviously, but the Titans' defense is pretty solid. Jags' defense solid as well. And again, Titans getting some guys back there, but going to trust the Jags because they're just the better team and right now. Helps that they're home. Helps that Josh Dobbs playing quarterback over there. But the Titans have that experience, that playoff experience, led by Mike Vrabel. The Jags, they've choked some games this year, and they don't have the experience. So for that reason, you almost can see the Titans, but I think the Jags are just a better team here. 20-16 is what I got. On to Sunday games. This game, we don't know the time yet, if I'm not mistaken. But Ravens-Bengals, it sounds like it's going to be just moments ago. I saw that, or like 20 minutes ago, I saw that Lamar Jackson did not practice again. So it's probably going to be Tyler Huntley, and the Ravens have been struggling offensively without Lamar Jackson. They were struggling a little bit offensively with Lamar Jackson too, not nearly as much, but Bengals are playing really good football right now. So I have them winning by 10, 26-16. The Ravens are playing tough defense. Teams really aren't scoring 26 points on them, but they haven't really seen the offenses like the Bengals, during their streak of holding teams under X amount of points, and even in there the Jags scored a decent amount, but they haven't really seen a team like the Bengals or that offense. So I think the Bengals will be just fine in this one, winning 26-16 is what I got, covering that 7. It's kind of a big spread between those rivals, but I like the Bengals by 10 here. Bucks and Falcons, very tricky one. The Falcons are favored by 4. I was originally planning, I saw the schedule, I'm like, all right, after the Bucks beat the Panthers, I'm like, all right, the Bucks, they're locked in at the 4 seed. They're not going to play their starters in this game. I'm going to pick the Falcons. But Todd Bowles said they plan on playing their starters and actually mentioned Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady, they don't want to rest him. So is that bullshit? Are they lying? Or is he really going to play the full game? Are those guys going to play the full game? Or are they going to play a half? So this one, I wouldn't touch, if you're betting on it. I mean, Bucks plus 4, and if you do feel confident they're at least going to start their starters, plus 4 does actually feel pretty good because even if they lose, it should be close. The Falcons are struggling right now. They barely beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals basically had their backups in there, and they barely took the last second field goal. So maybe 4 is a bit much. I don't know what Vegas knows over there, but if the Bucks don't go out there with any starters and we find that out before the game starts, I'm going to go with the Falcons instead. And they honestly, if no starters at all play for the Bucks, like not even a down, the Falcons should cover that 4, honestly. So we're kind of all over the place, but it sounds like the Bucks will at least start their starters. So I'm going to take them 20-17 here. they've had some costly injuries, looking at last year as well, especially going into the playoffs. So why would they do that? But you also don't want to have your guys kind of get rusty or not prepared for the playoffs, and they're still trying to get better. So that, I guess that you can argue either side there. But as of right now, I got the Bucks 20, the Falcons 17. That's a tricky one. Patriots, Bills. Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's any thought of changing this game for the on the schedule. But that's the latest I heard. You never know. But I got the Bills. It's going to be very tough for those Bills players and that staff to go out there and play. But I got them taking care of business here, 23-17. But I have the Patriots covering that 7.5. I got close. I got a 6-point game, it looks like. But Patriots have to win to get in. The Bills handled them just fine last time. It's a bad matchup for the Patriots, too, because the Patriots' offense has struggled, especially against good defense. You got a good zone defense here that disguises some coverage. And the Bills have a very good offense that can beat up the Patriots' man defense. So that almost sides with the Bills. But you factor in, maybe tough for the Bills to play, but mainly you factor in the Patriots have to win this game. I think Belichick and that staff, they're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to have their best game plan of the year. But they're still going to come up short, but I think they make it somewhat of a game here, somewhat of a low-scoring game. So 23-17 is what I have for the Buffalo Bills winning that one and fighting for that 1 seed. Vikings Bears, just a couple hours ago, got word that Nathan Peterman will be the starter. Justin Fields, they're going to hold out. He's been a little banged up here and there. The Bears, if they lose and the Texans win, the Bears get the first overall pick. So pretty big there. Forget the first overall pick. If the Bears win, a win and loss could be a difference of the second, maybe first overall pick and the 4th overall pick. So it's pretty big for the Bears to lose in this one. I don't know if anybody's going to go out there and try to lose, but putting Peterman in almost seems like that's what they're doing here. So that should assist the Vikings in taking care of this game. Vikings really don't blow anybody out, though. Usually games are close. They should be able to handle Peterman. They should be able to score on that Bears defense. So I'm going to go Vikings covering that 7.5, 27-17. Of course, if Fields was playing, I'd have the Bears covering that 7.5, but it wouldn't be 7.5. I think it was at 4.5 originally, which is sounds about right. So 27-17, Vikings. I am going to this game. A little disappointing I don't get to see Justin Fields. I get to watch Nathan Peterman. A little unfortunate, but whatever. But, myself, a Vikings fan, and all those Bears fans that'll be there, we're all going to be on the same page. We're all going to want the same thing. We're going to want the Vikings to win that game. So it should be a good time there. Next one, Texans and Colts. I'm going to go Colts. It's a tricky one. The Texans might be playing recently, not really the Jags game, but overall recent weeks, been playing a little bit better than the Colts perhaps. Colts are fighting for that 1 seed. By fighting, I mean they need to lose. And the Colts are fighting for a pretty good, or I shouldn't say 1 seed, first overall draft pick, the 1 seed in the playoffs, apparently. The first overall pick. And the Colts are fighting for a pretty good draft position as well. But the Texans, they got to lose this game. They got to hang on to that because it's very realistic they can win this game. And the Bears lose to the Vikings and the Bears get the first overall pick. That'll be tough for the Texans because the team that maybe needs the quarterback the most, they want their choice out of the quarterbacks. They want to be able to do their homework on the quarterbacks. Hey, we're going to pick the very best one, So because somebody may maybe trade up to that first pick with the Bears, the Texans are in a spot where they have to trade up one spot. You don't really want that. So Texans, I don't know if they're going to go out there, Lovie Smith, to go out there and purposely lose. That's going to be pretty tough to do, but it's a game they just absolutely have to lose. So I'm going to pick the Colts at home, and the Colts might get better with Ellinger over Foles coming in there. So I will take the Colts 19. It feels like a 19-16 type of game. We're going to go with the Colts. It's a tricky one. It's a toss-up game as well. Kind of a toss-up game, too, depending on who's at quarterback for the Dolphins. The Jets are favored by 1. I have them winning by 3, 20-17. As of right now, it sounds like it'll be Skylar Thompson. They also signed to the practice squad Mike Glennon. It's kind of a sign they might be short on quarterbacks. If they had Teddy and Thompson, I don't know if they would do that. They had 2 quarterbacks, but Teddy could play. They said he wants to play, could try to play, and that could change my pick here. I think it's going to be really, really close, even if it's Teddy. But it sounds like right now it could be Thompson. It's definitely not going to be Tua. I'm going to go Jets 20-17. They gave it to the Dolphins last time, and it was Skylar Thompson last time, so the Jets caught some breaks there, possibly both times. But the Jets play good defense. The only time their defense doesn't look great is when the team could run or runs all over them. But the Dolphins don't really want to run. But, I guess if no Tua, then maybe they'll run more. Mostert could have a day. Wilson could have a day perhaps. But I think the Jets defense takes care of business here. 2017 Jets. I could switch that one depending on who's playing quarterback for the Dolphins. Very tricky. Panthers and Saints, another tricky one to play. How many starters are going to play? I heard Andy Dalton will play here, but Panthers have been playing. They've been playing pretty well, except for they played for majority of last game. They played pretty well, but Saints are favored by 3.5. I was surprised by that spread. I would have guessed close to even. Maybe the Panthers even be favored. I was picking the Saints though. I want to see who they're playing on defense. Lattimore's been out all year with an injury for the most part. Played last week and was big time. So I want those guys to play in order to pick the Saints here. I think they could give Darnold some problems on the Saints at home, win the game 20-19. But it's one that can go either way. Vegas seems to think the Saints, 3.5. It's not like it's 3, 2.5, 2, 1. Pick them. So Vegas seems to think the Saints as well. Saints 20, Panthers 19. Another very tricky one there. Browns and Steelers. I like the Steelers in this one, just covering the spread. 24-20. Steelers have been playing a lot better ball lately. Haven't been scoring a whole lot of points. And they get going a little bit in this one, though. I saw the Browns offense get going a little bit last week. So Steelers defense is pretty tough, though. I like the match for the Steelers. I think their defense is tough enough to keep them at 20 or less. And I have a feeling they're off. I think Pickett has a pretty solid game. I think Najee and those running backs, Warren, these guys have a pretty solid game against the Browns. So 24-20. I got the Steelers just covering by 1 there. And they're fighting for the playoffs, too. Very impressive. Chargers and Broncos. Chargers only favored by 3. Yeah, maybe the Broncos got one of those defenses that just keeps it close for the Chargers, gives them problems. But 3 seems low. I got them covering that, winning by 6. I guess the tricky part is do the Chargers play their starters the whole game? They're in the playoffs. Do they get a lead? I don't think so. They should play their starters the whole game. I got them winning 23-17. It is an interesting matchup, going against that Broncos defense, but I don't think Russ and the boys will cook enough here. 23-17, Chargers winning by 6. Giants and Eagles. The Giants are likely to play their backups. Even with their starters, they got shellacked by the Eagles last time. That's one game, though. The Giants are playing pretty good football right now. Playoff team here, obviously. Impressive season. But Hurts is expected to be back. No official word there, but it's expected to be back. Eagles got to win that. Hold on to that 1 seed. I think we're going to get kind of that feeling from the Eagles that we've been getting most of the year. That dominance. We're the best team in the NFC, or maybe football. Especially if the Giants are playing backups here. It's already a bad matchup for the Giants as it is with their starters. Not 30-13 bad, except last time it was 40 or so to 22 or whatever it was, and the Giants scored some points late there too. So 30-13. So I do have the Eagles covering that whopping 14. And I have the Niners covering the whopping 14. Got them winning by 16. 26-10. They'll play David Blau. DeAndre Hopkins is out. Cardinals won't score much. Niners got a stout defense. 10 points, maybe less for the Cardinals. Niners, maybe they get to a certain point and kind of take it easy a little bit. And that's where I came up with 26. I think it really could score more. So 26-10 Niners is what I have on that one. The Niners should lock up the 2 seed. Get the 1 if the Eagles lose, but I don't think the Eagles are, as you can tell. I just talked about that one. I don't think they're going to lose. Rams and Seahawks, 6.5. Seems like a little much. The Seahawks could win by 7 and they cover the spread, but the matchup almost says Rams. I think the Seahawks are the better team and are fighting for the playoffs, so I think they'll do just enough and win 24-20. But the matchup almost says Rams. They got a pretty decent defense. Ramsey will probably lock down somebody, and slow down the Seahawks offense, which that's how they win. And the Rams on offense, they're pretty good with running the football, especially lately with Cam Akers and play action, dinking and dunking. And that's where you really could beat up the Seahawks and wear them out. But it is tough to say the Rams, that offense will completely take advantage. We didn't see that last week, really. So the matchup almost says Rams on paper to me. But the Seahawks are the better team. They're fighting for the playoffs. I got them winning 24-20. I really expect it to be closer than 6.5. But again, it's possible they win by 7, 10, I guess. I don't really see the 10, but I like the Rams covering at 6.5. Cowboys and Commanders at 7.5, and I have the Cowboys winning by 7, so I have the Commanders covering by half a point. But I was pretty confident with that, staying under. I thought about maybe a 6-point win, 4-point win, anywhere around there. Howell's going to play quarterback, and I guess it's tough because we don't know how Howell's going to play. We haven't seen him yet, but the Cowboys haven't seen him yet either. I don't think he could be any worse than Carson Wentz. shouldn't be that much worse than Heineke. He could be better because, you know, he has kind of that strong arm, big playability. You know, there's nothing really on the line, so it's kind of go out there and play, show us what you got. The Cowboys don't have film on him, and again, it can't be any worse than what those other quarterbacks. So I think you play all right. He's not going to be fantastic, but yeah, and then they play pretty tight defense. So I got the Cowboys by 7 in this one. 7.5 does seem like a little bit, but it's pretty cutting it close to what I got. And then Sunday Night Football, the big one, could be even bigger if the Seahawks lose. So this is kind of win or in. If the Seahawks win, then the Lions are out. It is, you know, the Lions guys are going to play hard either way, but just something about, you know, just moments before you're about to play, you're warming up on the field, you found out that we're done. We're done for the year. That's got to hurt a little bit. So I think that affects the Lions players maybe, but it doesn't really hurt them because they just got to win anyway, or would have to win even if the Seahawks lost. I think it affects the Seahawks. It might help the Packers out a little bit here perhaps if the Lions aren't playing for anyone, but they're going to try to play spoiler either way. But for all those reasons, it's kind of tough to predict a score. Because there's different things that could happen to affect the game, in my opinion. But I like a squeaker here. The Lions gave him problems last time. Aaron Rodgers played the worst game I've ever seen him play. The last time they played the Lions. The Lions defense isn't that good, and they've gotten better. They've gotten better since that game. And they play pretty good on offense. It's not like, you know, playing the Vikings or the Packers can really just focus on one guy, Justin Jefferson, double, even triple him at time. You can't really do that against the Lions because they kind of have multiple. I mean, the Vikings got all options as well. But they got multiple options. No one's really that much better than the other guy. You know, Amon St. Brown, who plays from the slot a lot. It's very difficult to double or triple a guy from the slot on top of it. But they really spread the ball out pretty damn evenly to options. So that makes it tough for the Packers. That is why the Lions could win this game, and I strongly considered it. But the big factor is it's in Lambeau. It's in Lambeau. That's really, if this was in Detroit, I'm more confident, actually, than I am with the Packers and Lambeau. I'm more confident with the Lions at home. I would be. I'd have them winning by more than one. So that's just the factor. The Lions got them at home. The Packers, I'm predicting to get the Lions at home. The Packers being at home, that is. 4.5 seems like a bit, though, because I did just argue how the Lions could win, and it seems pretty realistic. What the Packers have to do is pound the football, and they will win this ball game. But there's a lot of times where they're a little hesitant with that. They go away from it. They want to be a pass-first team because they do have Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just won an MVP last year, and he's starting to play better right now. But still, they got to run that football. The Lions have to run the ball quite a bit as well, but change it up. But Packers being at home, having that home field advantage. Literally on the field, it seemed like the Vikings players were slipping all over the place. So we'll keep an eye out and see if the Lions players are doing the same thing. That'd be interesting. But they also have that just what you think of first when you think of home field advantage, almost a home crowd advantage. And with that crowd on Sunday Night Football, and the Packers could have a little bit more of an advantage if the Lions figure out they're out too. So felt a little more comfortable going Packers. But it'll be tight. It'll be tight. It'll be a squeaker. Again, the matchup almost says Lions. Like X's and O's here almost says Lions, but that's going to be a really good game. Like, I don't want to root against anybody, like talking about Seahawks-Rams, but if the Rams beat the Seahawks, this is going to be even crazier of a game. Like, it's going to be more, I'm going to watch either way, but it's going to be epic, but not saying I'm rooting against Seahawks for that, but if that comes down to it, that this game means that much, it's going to be epic. So we'll see. So going over my against spread picks, I got a lot of underdogs, I believe. Yeah. Raiders plus 9.5. It's a tricky one though. Could see the Chiefs just dominating them, but 9.5 seems like a lot. Titans plus 6. That might be a little bold. I think a lot of people have the Jags just take care of business easy. I like the Titans defense, and they're getting some guys back they didn't have last week. Henry on the Titans are going to come out and they're going to pound the football with Derrick Henry. They're going to run a lot of clock. They're going to keep Trevor Lawrence off the field. It's going to stay close. Bengals minus 7. They should be able to handle the Tyler Huntley Ravens. Bucks plus 4. We got to find out if the Bucs starters are for sure playing. If they're for sure playing, even if it's just a half, I like the Bucs plus 4. Pats plus 7.5. Probably one I wouldn't touch, but they're fighting for the playoffs. I think they should have their best game plan of the year and keep it kind of close. Vikings minus 7.5 against Nathan Peterman. Colts, I probably wouldn't touch. I got them winning by 3. They're favored by 2.5. Jets minus 1. If Skylar Thompson's playing, I like that a lot for the Jets. If it's Teddy, I wouldn't touch it either way. If it was Tua, I'd be all over the Dolphins, but the spread would be way different. Panthers plus 3.5. I think they can win that game. So 3.5 seems like a bit. Even though I have the Saints winning that game, the Panthers could win. Steelers minus 3. I had them winning by 4, so probably one I wouldn't touch. Chargers minus 3 almost seems like a trap because they should beat the Broncos by more than 3. So something was weird there. Eagles and Niners are both minus 14. It seems like a bit much. Those teams should cover that, but those are always scary. I usually stay away from those big ones. The only one, I kind of always a rule for me. The only one I've taken was actually Eagles Texans earlier in the year. It was a 15. The Texans game a decent ball game there, so that kind of scared me the rest of the way here. And the Eagles happen to be one of the teams. Rams plus 6.5. I think it's going to be closer than that, but again, they could lose by 7, and that you're done off a half a point. Commanders plus 7.5 should stay under that, but it's going to be really close. Lions plus 4.5. I think that game's going to be tight. It's tricky, though, because the Lions find out right before that they're out of the playoffs. They might lose by 7, 10, 17. You can see any of those. But if that is a game, so you could wait on that one, really, because it's a Sunday night game. But if that's going to be a game, like win to get in the playoffs, I know it's tough to put your money on the Lions in that scenario just based on what they've done in the past, but it is a different team. That game should stay real tight. I don't know. So those are my against spread picks for the final regular season week. We'll be doing the same stuff for the playoffs, plus some different playoff type content. So join us for that. Check out our channel. Like, subscribe to notifications on all of it. Much appreciated. Follow us on Twitter. Link pinned in the comments for that. It's a must follow, especially for this time of the year and the off season coming up. Sponsor links down there as well. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.